So what's up, YouTube? So I've been meaning to do this video for a while. It's a review, a boot review. So when I ride, I wear boots most of the time, and I have various boots that I throw on. But the boots that I prefer are wedges, typically. So a wedge boot, if you don't know, is a boot with a flat sole. Usually it's some Vibram material, unless it's they have a proprietary sole. This is an example of a wedge boot here. This is my white Perry boot, Perry moctoe, excuse me. My white Perry moctoe. And this boot, as you can see, has gotten a lot of wear. You look at the sole here. These boots are perfect for riding. The reason why I prefer these boots to other styles of boots is simply the flat sole. So when I stop, I can put my feet down flat. I feel secure when I'm sitting on the bike, holding the bike up and having to put my feet down. And also when I'm riding, the flat sole sits well on my floorboards. You know, I'm not on my tippy toes like if I have a heel on. And when I'm shifting, it's a lot easier to shift and to move my feet along on the bike, from the highway pegs to the shifter to the floorboard to the ground to back. You know, that movement, that routine. And sometimes I drag my feet a little bit. That's why the toe is a little sloped up right there. So these boots give me some confidence when I'm riding, confidence that, you know, I'm be stable and secure. And these are pretty good construction. These boots right now, I think they run for about $280. I got these when they first released the moctoe Perrys about 2 years ago. These are like almost 2 years old, 2020, I believe, when I got these. And you know, at first these were like my dress boots. I very rarely wore these because I also have some Thorogood moctoes that I didn't bring out here to do a review on those. But those boots, I love Thorogoods. I've never owned Red Wings, but I've had multiple pairs of Thorogoods. I've had various other boots, and the Thorogood were the best boots I ever owned up until I came across these whites. When whites started producing these, I got this pair and I started trying these, and these were great. One of the positives about these is simply the construction, right? This is all leather construction, handmade, and they have a nice sole on them, oil resistant sole, comfortable insole in there. Whites has their own proprietary insole in the boot. These have been worn, as you can see, Ortholite insole that kind of gives you a little bit more cushioning in there. But these boots are great. They're not lined with anything. It's just pure leather inside. These are fantastic boots. Very durable. I've, you know, you can see where I've worn on them, you know, beat them up. I've been out in heavy rain with these boots on. They do suck up water. They are not water resistant. So, I mean, you might want to spray something on them, try to get a little bit of water protection. But otherwise, these are fantastic boots. Very, very good boots. Now, one of the best boot making companies in America is Nick's. And I own a couple pair of Nick's boots. And Nick's started making their own moctoes recently. And about, almost a year ago, 10 months, it was in March of 2022, I put my order in for my Knicks moctoes, and it took me 6 months to get my shoes. So I put my order in, and at first it was supposed to be a 6 to 8 week turnaround. Then it turned into 8 to 12 weeks, then 12 to 16, and then it ended up just being straight up 6 months. You know, and I complained to Knicks a little bit about that, but I also told them that I really appreciate their boots and the high quality of their boots. So here's a pair of my Knicks moctoes. These boots are probably the best quality moctoe boot you can get. These Knicks are handmade. They have a Vibram sole, but you can choose your sole on these. You could actually get a heel on these. So the boot is the moctoe. They don't necessarily have to be wedges when you order them from Knicks. You can get it with a heel or a different, sole that you want. They have various soles. I chose to go with the wedge sole, the standard sole, and these boots are very comfortable, and it's really thick leather, even thicker than the leather on these whites. The whites leather, you can see where I bent this leather all up here, right? Even on the tongue is very soft. The tongue has been bent up, it's all wrinkled up. But on these Knicks, the tongue is stitched all the way to the top of the boot, right? So you're protected all the way up your ankle, and these come up, I think these are, I want to say 6-inch. Yeah, they're a 6-inch boot, and they have, eyelets, 4 eyelets, and then we go into the speed lacing up here at the top with another eyelet, which I never use this eyelet up at the top. And they come with leather laces, right? So they're leather laces as opposed to the standard. I'm assuming these are probably nylon cotton blend laces that come on the white boot, right? Both of these boots are resolable, so you can wear the soles down and get the soles replaced. But these boots, the quality on these boots, and they even have the little, I forget what they call this thing that protects the tongue of the boot from the laces wearing them out, rubbing them out. So once these laces wear through this leather, which is pretty thick in itself, you just replace this piece. You don't have to worry about the tongue being worn. But these boots are amazing. And this is one solid piece of leather. So when you get some moctoes, it's actually 2 pieces of leather and they stitch it together, and that's how they form the moctoe look right in here. But what Knicks does is they take this solid piece of leather and they stitch this seam right here into the leather. So this is one solid piece of leather. It's not split. There's no cut in here. There's no division. When you look at these boots here, you can see where there's a seam right here in the leather. So it's 2 pieces stitched together. This is one solid piece of leather. And it's a mighty thick piece of leather at that. I think these are 8-ounce leather. So in wearing these, you can see I barely, creased any of this leather. I've bumped it and, scuffed it. I need to take care of them. I need to get them cleaned up, polished up. And they have a nice little heel strap right here, so you can help pull them on. And the sole is mighty thick. And look at that leather that goes around the sole, right? This is amazing. These boots are fantastic. And it's double stitched down construction right here. And this boot is not only resolable, it's rebuildable. So when you wear out the sole, when you wear it out down here, all of this can be removed. They can keep the upper part of the boot here and replace everything down below, and basically you have a customized boot because the leather above is already broken in and formed to your foot, and they replace everything below so that the boot is still a safe and secure boot to wear. But I enjoy these because, again, it's a moctoe. It gives me that stability when I'm on the bike and I'm sitting on the bike and I move my feet from the floorboards, shifting to the ground, back and forth, onto the highway pegs. These boots make it very comfortable to do all of that. Now, these boots are more expensive than these whites. The whites cost me about $280. They might be higher now because prices on things have gone up. They might, I think someone mentioned to me that they're like $300 now or something. You know, they're comparable pricing wise. They're comparable to Red Wings. Quality wise, I think they're better. They're better than even the Red Wings. They're more expensive than the Thorogoods, but quality wise, Thorogood is an excellent boot, but Thorogood uses some synthetic materials in their boot. So there's some plastics and whatnot in the sole of the boot and the sole construction, whereas this is all leather and White's proprietary sole. And here, this is 100% leather and nail construction with some glue used on the Vibram sole here. And then the sole is stitched down, glued down. Excellent boot. So this is my best moctoe. And I have about, let's see, I think I have 5 or 6 pairs of moctoes. I have 3 pair of Thorogood moctoes, and I have 2 pair of white moctoes and these. So that's 6 pairs of moctoes. Now, I got another pair of Nicks, which are great boots. They're fantastic boots. But these boots are much taller and they have a heel. So I got these boots and I really like the boots, but I have a couple complaints about the boots, which isn't Nick's fault at all. It's just a matter of preference for me regarding the boot. The boot has similar construction to the Nick's moctoe. The difference is obviously it's a much taller boot. These are 10-inch boots, and also the tongue is stitched all the way to the top of the boot, and you have this tongue protection right here for the laces. Now, when I got these boots, I went through 2 pair of leather laces. So the laces that came with these didn't last me any time. Stitching or lacing these boots up and tighten them up, I broke the laces, and then I called Nick's, and Nick sent me out a fresh new pair of laces. Those broke even faster than the first pair. Nick's then told me that the problem was that they were going through a new vendor for those laces. I didn't realize Nick's didn't make their own laces at that point. I believe they make their own laces now, but at that point they weren't making the laces. So those laces were not good for the boot. I mean, when I would try to pull them tight, I was popping laces, and you don't want laces that, you know, can't secure the boot. Especially if you're out, you get them on and then you break them, and then, you know, you're kind of stuck. You can't lace the boot all the way up. So I ended up replacing these. I just bought some cheap work boot laces off of Amazon, and I've been using these, and they work fine. They're a little snug in the speed laces, but, you know, they work. Now, the other problem I had with these, well, let me just finish saying the good stuff about the boot. This boot is resolable, rebuildable. I mean, you can salvage everything, all the boot, the leather part of the boot, and change out the bottom, the sole, all of this stuff. And this is all leather, a leather heel stack with a rubber. This is a Vibram sole. This is a hard rubber sole. So this is not a Nick's problem. This is a no-neck problem. I opted, because I'm a big dude, and I wear through soles, I opted for the hard rubber sole. Problem with that is the hard rubber sole is hard. So when you're walking around, there's no cushion. There's no cushion in the shoe. When you see the foot inside of the shoe, the insole, there's no insole in this boot. Now you can put one in here, of course, but you can look down and you can see where your foot is pressed into the leather, and you can see the head of some of the nails. Now you don't really feel this when you're walking around, but there are a ton of nails in this boot holding it together, right? And you can see it where you're pressing down, and it hasn't been a problem in terms of like feeling the nails in my foot, but the fact is there's no cushion inside the boot. And with no cushion, and this, I mean, this is super hard leather. This is truly a work boot. This is a work boot. And because it is meant to be extremely durable, this sole is very hard. And walking around on this, for me, after wearing it a while, it becomes, uncomfortable with such a hard sole. So they do give you an option for the Vibram, Honey Vibram Gold gum sole. If I had this to do over again, I would have gotten it with those soles as opposed to this one. Now they will replace it. I can send it in and have the soles changed out, and which I'm probably going to do. I just haven't done it yet. And I'm sure it'll be a much more comfortable boot at that point, because these soles are extremely hard. I mean, you can't even like pinch the rubber on these. These are extremely hard soles. So changing that out would probably change the comfort level of the boot. Throwing an insole in will probably help out with the boot. But these boots, just like these, right? When I got these boots were made to my foot size. So Nick sent me out a template to measure my feet. They took measurements of my feet, and then I sent that in, and they sent me a tester boot that I put on to see if the size was right, so they could gauge the size. And then I did an interview over the phone with Nick's, where they asked me pointed questions about how's the boot fit at this point on the foot or that point on the foot, so that they could tweak the measurements that I sent them so that they could make my actual boot. So they send you out a brand of... Sorry about that. I think I'm running out of storage, so my camera cut off. But like I said, these boots are, for me, riding wise, I don't like the heel because I don't feel secure wearing these and riding as like I do when I wear my moctoes. So I prefer the moctoes for riding, but these are an option for people who like heels. I got brothers that enjoy riding in heels. And these, if you have plantar fasciitis or you have any kind of arch problem, you could get away without wearing your arch supports in these. That's one of the reasons that prompted me to buy these boots, is because these boots with the heel, I can eliminate arch support. With the other boots, I still need to wear arch support, even though I don't a lot of times, but I should wear my arch supports in those boots. These, I don't need arch supports at all. But like I said, I need to replace the sole and get a gum sole, the Honey Vibram, to make it a little softer. And otherwise, these are great boots. I highly recommend them. These boots are a little more expensive than the moctoes. These boots are handmade, constructed to your specs. They do sell off the shelf, so you can just look on the shelf and order according to your size. But if you want to get them for you, you can go through the process of having yourself measured and get them made just for you. And then you can customize all of the leather panels on the boot, choose your colors, choose your style of leather. So I got rough out. Rough out lasts longer, right? It's more durable when it comes to abrasions and things like that. You're not gonna split the leather as easy on a rough out as you do on this smooth leather. And so that's why I went that. You can see where I scuffed up the heels here and kind of scuffed up the toe here. And you can get different toe styles. You can get just the leather, or you can get the what they call elastic toe. I think that's where it's like the plastic. And then you can get a metal toe in here. But I opted for this elastic, the metal. When I get metal hard toes, steel toe boots, sometimes with the shifting, you know, your foot is kicking up on that metal, and after a while your toes start to hurt if you're riding a lot. So I went for a softer toe here. But these boots are great, and like I said, these boots were more expensive. So whereas these cost me $5 something, what did I say, like $550, $560, these were like $600. They're like an extra $100. So these are a little more expensive, and they can get even more expensive depending on all the extras that you add. They'll put pockets on the side if you're somebody who stashes a blade or, you know, utility knife or something. They'll do all that for you. You can have all kinds of things customized on this boot. But this is a 20-year boot. This boot is gonna last you, if you wear it every day, it'll last you 20 years. Of course, you're gonna re-sole it from time to time, but it's a great boot. So I highly recommend this boot. If you're someone who likes a heel when you ride, I highly recommend this boot. If you want a boot that's gonna last you, that you're gonna beat up and it's gonna last you. Now, I know guys that are in, you know, firefighting and things like that who wear Nick's boots, you know, forest firefighters, and they go through multiple pairs, and they don't wait to, because they need the boots right away, they don't wait to send the boots in and get them reconstructed and, you know, whatever. A lot of those guys just buy new ones all the time. But if you're somebody who, you know, maybe you have a couple pair of these already, you can afford the time that it takes to have these boots recrafted and sent back, so you can wear the other pair while you wait for these to get fixed up, and then you send the other ones in when these come back. You know, it works out. But these boots are rebuildable, and Nick's themselves says these boots can last you. These boots can last you over 20 years. I apologize. I got all these cars going by and whatnot. So these boots are highly recommended. But for my own personal taste, these are the ultimate boot. The Nick's moctoe wedge sole boot. These boots, I put a lot of miles in on these boots and on these white boots. So for a more affordable option, handmade, leather construction, all leather construction, no synthetic materials, a much more affordable option is these. Thinner leather is the downside. They're a thinner leather. They don't have that that northeastern boot construction that the Knicks have. These are northeastern boots. Also, White's is up in the northeast part of the country, although it's actually owned by a Japanese company now. But they are typically considered northeastern or northwestern style boots, and as are these Knicks. But the Knicks are a much more heavy-duty, durable boot. I mean, the weight of these boots, these Knicks are heavy. These Knicks are solid, thick, dense leather. These are going to last you a long time, as will these, but much more softer leather, easier to break in. But like I said, you're going to replace these soles a lot sooner, and you're probably going to wear through this leather a lot sooner because it's not as thick and durable as that on the Knicks. And again, with the Knicks, you can choose all the various leather colors and types that you want for your shoe. When it comes to whites, right now they have 3 colors. You have the black, you have a red, which is really kind of a similar color to this. I consider this just to be brown, but it's kind of a reddish brown like this. And then they have what they call their like vintage brown, I think is what they call it, which is kind of like a sandy brown color, and it looks aged. So if you're like someone who likes that look, they have that. So there's basically 3 colors of the Perry moctoe versus whatever leather Knicks has in-house. you can do it with this boot. So it's up to you what your choice is, but I highly recommend these if you're willing to spend the money. But remember, you're gonna buy this once to, how many times are you gonna buy this? This boot once in 20 years. This boot, probably last you, like I've had this boot 2 years and you can tell I've been wearing it. So I'm not sure exactly how long this is gonna last me. I'm certainly gonna have to replace these soles soon. But this one's gonna run me a long time. So that's it. Like I said, I like moctoes. I like the moctoes because I like a flat sole when I ride. It's more comfortable on the bike, going from floorboards to shifting to the ground, to back to the floorboards to shifting to the highway pegs. It just makes me feel more confident and secure in my operation of my bike. So these are the boots I recommend. Recommend it, but it's just not for me to ride it. I like the boot, not for riding. And again, be careful what sole you get on these boots, and make sure you get a comfortable sole. You can actually get that hard sole on these if you want. You don't have to get the wedge sole like this. And there's also other types of wedge soles that Nick has. Nick's, you can completely customize the boot. So I highly recommend that, and it's worth it. For $500, you got the boot you want. It's not an off-the-shelf boot. You got the boot you want. You got it to the size you want it. You got the color you want. You got it smooth, rough out, whatever you want. You come with the leather laces. You come with the tongue protector here. And you're going to enjoy these boots.